Good afternoon, Joyful Hermit. There was another post that I decided not to put out. It involved just another memory of 17 years ago today, talking to the first priest and things he said. And I don't know, I might have mentioned my confirmation. Been doing many videos, and a lot of them I don't post. This lady called me, very nice lady, and once again, she's sort of basically the head of RCIA at the cathedral, and once again and said, "Don't you think you really ought to go to a Protestant church?" I think she just doesn't understand the Catholic Mass. She teaches RCIA, but doesn't understand it, but she meant well. She really means well. She's a lovely person, and I said, no. I actually said honestly, I'm not willing to risk any more groups. I am pretty much done in, and I said I've been having a lot of flashbacks of awful things, and I said I think it's because I was starting to be tempted to think maybe I could return, maybe I could try again, and even my son called, and do not go back, don't ever go back, Mom. And this lady too said, "Oh no, don't go back. It's too risky," and it is. And I told her how I'd had to cancel the kind wedding invitation, and I said, that not only that it's a mass and another parish would probably get done in, but I'd also probably be attacked by this associate pastor from this other parish in this small town and his crude-mouthed wife. So she laughed. "Oh, yeah," she said, "oh, that was that horrible threat letter you got, email." I said, "Yes." I said, "I don't dare be in the same place that they are. Who knows what they'll do to me." Guy's a great big fat guy, and the wife is very nasty and rough around the edges, but it's just humanity. My son got back from an assignment and lucky to be alive, and is going out again tonight on another one, and very dangerous. Just out there in the world, the things that people are doing that are horrible. And after a while, you just sort of have to laugh it all off and just keep praying for people. Praying for our country, praying for our citizenry, praying for people in different walks of life. Try to have compassion and understanding. This man and his wife, and the crude language, and their, if you ever see us, you better get the H out if you know what's good for you, and going on in that vein in an email. And I don't know, how were they reared? Maybe they were beaten as children, or had rough and rugged parents, or and I don't know how it hasn't come out, although the husband one time, when he was speaking to me, sort of boasted about how his wife was going to curse me out some other time when I was a parishioner there. And he said, "Oh," and he says, "I literally had to hold her back from you." And this is our personnel, well, no wonder we sort of have troubles. And but then he does a very good job with what he does, I guess, with the bulk of the people. And when I reported it to the rector, who's also the vicar general, and mentioned it to my spiritual director, who, could have at least maybe talked to the man, or had his priest talk to him and his wife. Now, do you really want to be sending these emails, these threat emails to somebody? And don't you realize that you could have a police report against you? Well, things are going to happen. Things are starting to shake up at all levels. And another friend just called. She's picking me up to run a couple errands. And once again said, maybe I need to consider trying to move. But I said, there's no guarantee it'll be better anywhere else. And although it would be nicer maybe to have a fresh start and to be closer to my adult children and grandchildren, but I would lose thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So, but I might try. I guess it'd be no harm in trying, seeing what a realtor would say, and maybe they would find that unique person. I always hate to feel like I'm being run out, though. Maybe hold my ground, but yeah, I did have to have the reality check with both the phone calls, and then the third um, from this friend. Just understand this is something she agreed that I was having these flashbacks of this awful stuff. I said I was even trying to get it out in my videos, thinking that that would heal and help me move on, but it doesn't. So, prayer, humor, um, you couldn't make this stuff up. It's too weird, too weird. There's just so much more, so much more. Um, yeah, when people say you ought to write a book, I don't think they'd really want it. Well, maybe. I'm sure some of the people out there would like it because it would put us in a bad light. And that's so sad. It's so sad. But there's always hope, and there's always the good people. There's always the good people. And I just know there's changes coming, though. There has to be changes coming in the church. It can't go on like this. I can't imagine. Um, or maybe it's just me that this is part of the hermit life. I was also thinking back of a little over 5 years ago when I had another one of those lucid, very clear dreams, and my guardian angel was speaking to me and chastising me. I had just moved into this house the week before, or it was within the first week, and he said that I was not living, he said, you have not been living or honoring the hermit life that God has chosen for you and values very much. And when he said hermit, even in this dream or whatever state it was, dimension, I was like, oh, because I had avoided using the hermit word. Somehow it just seemed so stark and foreboding to me. Rather, I used more the religious solitary when I would think of it or explain to friends, Protestant friends, why I was more in solitude. And but no, he came right out and used hermit, and I knew that I hadn't been. So I have to assume in this progression of events now, and the reminders when I weaken and weaken for wanting to return, I don't know why. Well, for the Mass, I love the Mass. And for things to be as they were even before, I in my mind start thinking, well, maybe it wasn't so bad. And the state at Mass was wonderful, of course. But, no. And then to get the phone call and the RCIA director person saying, once again, maybe you ought to go to a Protestant church. And then my son reminding me, do not go back. And then this third person calling and saying something else that was going on there that's not really good for me to pray about. I'll pray about it for them. So, I guess that's all I want to say. I'm going to continue forth, and I'll keep praying. Pray for me. Maybe I am to physically leave the area. Sometimes that helps in adaptation. It did, but I was shown when I left the other state in repeated dreams that I was to move back and where I was to move to specifically over and over and over. And until I put my house on the market and it sold the very first day for asking price less 500 at a time when the market was dropping, I got peak price, which everybody found was miraculous. But only then did the dreams stop. So I knew, and it was miraculous, as I had said to you before, how we got out of state. It was a court battle, but how it all turned in favor in the last 3 minutes. So God will guide me, and I'm going to try again not to try to utilize videos as a means to get through the healing and the hurt. I don't really think it's working. It's not helping me. It's just rehashing it again. So maybe this will be the last one, I hope. God bless His real presence in you. And for all of those who have had an easier ride in their spiritual life, I am ever, ever so grateful to God. And for those of you who have had trials, hang in there. I'm trying to hang in too. We just have to trust that it's God's will